Hey Neil,
Hi Matt.
how you doing?
Not too bad, how are you?
Can we talk about a bridge?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right Matt, so let's look at the bridge, let's look at applications. I'm a residential customer, might have an intruder alarm system, probably have got an intruder alarm system installed, may or may not have some CCTV cameras. So with the bridge, Optex, how can they help me, what can they do?
Okay, well actually it's quite a simple answer to that question. What you can think about doing is adding external detection to your residential property. The answer being, wouldn't you rather pick someone up before they've got into your property? So if you think about external detection, you can add that with Optex, and then what you can do to marry your CCTV and your intruder alarm together is add the bridge.
Okay, so with the external detection, everyone's familiar with some of the systems that are out there, usually camera driven, that'll false alarm. The Optex detection, cat, dog, fox gets onto my garden, am I going to get a false alarm?
No, absolutely not. And this is where you would talk to us directly, and we would guide you through which detector to use. Over 400 to choose from, by the way. But we do have some short-range PIRs, for example, for the residential range, and they will be pet immune. So you will not suffer from nuisance alarms, and that's the whole idea here. There's plenty in the DIY market, but we're a professional company, and we will help you select the correct detector for your application.
Okay, so I've got my external detection, it's not going to false alarm, it's just going to give me an activation when there's somebody there. So from a homeowner's point of view, that's going to benefit me because I want to know somebody's heading into the garden, heading to the house rather than actually breaking in. I've got the bridge on there, I've got CCTV, somebody's in my garden, what's going to happen?
Okay, so what happens then, depending on how you've set your intruder alarm up, for example, you could have either a chime or a part set, for example. But after that, then what will happen is you'll get a ping on your app on your phone, and that will give you a live image of what's happening externally. If there were someone outside in the property, you're upstairs in bed, for example, 3 o'clock in the morning, and you don't want to go down and face up, who would? Then what you would do is you have a talk down function which will let the person know they're being recorded and how to leave the site.
Okay, so I could give an audio broadcast to ask someone to leave. Is there anything else I can do with it? You know, the audio broadcast may or may not work. Is there any other actions I can do with it?
Sure. You've got contacts on there, so you could have it a light, you could have a gate, whatever the application is for your own home. There's multiple things you can do with the bridge to create awareness and get people away from the property. Okay, Neil, so yourself as a residential customer, how will the Optex bridge benefit you?
Okay, so residential customer typically might have intruder alarm system in. That's fantastic, it'll let you know that somebody's been into the house, but from an end user's point of view, my preference would be that I want to know that somebody's in the garden, for example, or somebody's heading towards the bike shed, the window, that we're going to try and break in. I want to know before they've got in rather than they've got in, because if they've got in, they're going to take whatever they're going to take and they've already caused the damage. So with the bridge, the key thing is use it with the Optex detection, which is reliable detection. No false alarms from cat, dogs or foxes. It's just going to give you an activation when there's a human there. You put in the bridge, you tie it into a CCTV system if you've got CCTV there. If you haven't got a CCTV system, just add a camera onto there. You can then have the app notifications as an end user, just use your smartphone. We've got an app that will work with the bridge, allows you to arm it and disarm it. If there's anybody comes on at 3 o'clock in the morning, it'll just start pinging off push notifications on your phone. You can then have a look and see what's happening on that camera.
Okay, that's great. So what makes the difference between DIY solutions and an Optex solution?
Okay, so with the Optex bridge, Optex have manufactured a lot of knowledge within this industry. We've built the product basically to do the job. So a lot of the DIY systems you get false alarms from because they're camera driven. Using the bridge with our Optex detection, it's then going to give you the reliable detection, which is the key thing. The last thing you want is push notifications at 3 o'clock in the morning to let you know a neighbour's cat has got into the garden or the neighbour's boiler's switched on. So that's from the end user point of view. You're only going to get notifications when you need them. It's so simple when a push notification comes through to be able to visually verify it. It's instantly there. You can see exactly what's happening on that camera. If you want to do an audio talk down, you can do it from that event. You can also do a relay output, which is going to trigger a light, trigger a sounder, whatever you might want to do just to add that extra layer to deter someone. But also with it being a professional solution, we've actually got the cameras are monitored as well. So if, for example, a camera goes offline and stops working on the network for some reason, With the app, it will actually notify the app and it'll push that through, so you could even get an alert to let you know that a camera's gone faulty for some reason. So rather than getting an event at 3 a.m. and not knowing why, or even maybe not even getting that push notification because that camera's not working, if that camera fails for some reason, you will know about it within 10 minutes, which is a default timer that we set up.
So what makes our solution more reliable than a DIY solution?
So it's the stability of the system, it's the stability of the sensing from the start. A lot of DIY solutions are camera driven. They will pick up false alarms from the neighbour's cat getting into the garden, it will pick up false alarms from weather conditions and neighbour's boiler switching on, for example. With the Optex sensing solutions, we've got 40 years worth of industry experience, so we manufacture sensors that don't false alarm with cats, dogs, foxes, weather condition changes. So getting that sensing element at the start correct is the key thing.
Yeah.
But then as the bridge, it's a professional solution. It's just so simple. When the activation comes through, it's instantly displayed for the end user to see on their mobile phone what has caused that activation. You can then do an audio challenge from that, so you can do a push down message to challenge somebody on site. You can also then fire a relay if you want to trigger a relay to make another action happen, because audio messages are good, but if you then back it up with switching on lights or switching on the sound as well, it can then amplify the situation and deter that person, make them go next door where they haven't got that system installed. Also, the other thing to bear in mind with the professional solution is the fact that we fully monitor the bridge and even down to the camera. So with the DIY solution, if the camera breaks for some reason, as a homeowner you might not know that unless you happen to try and look at it on live view and find out that the live view isn't working. With the bridge, it's all fully supervised, so if that camera goes offline, then we can let you know within 10 minutes, which is a default timer that we build in, that camera's gone faulty or that camera's broken or the network's dropped off for some reason.
Excellent. So to summarise, the Optex bridge, we will know that the camera is always working.
Yep.
We will know if there is someone coming to site.
Yep.
You'll get a notification, push notification, if anyone's in and around your property. And then it will verify whether there is action to be taken.
Yeah, that's just a few of the features. There's loads of other things that you can do with the bridge. It's with the app. If it's for residential, it's so easy to arm and disarm, which is something that a lot of the systems find hard. You might be able to create events or look at live stream, but having the function of being able to easily set and unset the system, and then easily being able to look through the activity log for any events that are there, it just makes it so simple for a home user to be able to use.
So what it is, it's peace of mind we're buying here, we're buying into here. This is a steady product, it will work, and you will have peace of mind in and around your residential or commercial property.
Yeah, total peace of mind for the homeowner or business owner that are protected. I'm not going to have false alarms. If anything goes offline or goes faulty, I'm going to know about it. Dead easy to use to set and unset it. And if anything happens, get that instant notification and then be able to do a talk down message, fire a relay, whatever it may be that you need to do on the site.
Great product, Neil. Very informative. So now let's talk about some real life applications, and one regarding rabbits.
Okay, yeah, so we had a residential customer, quite a high-end residential customer, high net worth kind of client running his business and residential property within the same premises. Had a combination of analytics running on cameras, other sensing technologies that have been deployed, and poor guys getting bombarded with false activations. Rabbits running around the site all the time, maybe not just rabbits, could be foxes, badgers are also out there. So guys getting all these false activations, starting to struggle. Integrator's not looking too good there because he's deployed this solution which is causing lots of issues. The integrator actually came to us to ask for our assistance on the site, and to be fair, challenging site, challenging conditions, but with the portfolio of products that we've got, we can pick the right technology for the site. We deployed some of our sensors, also deployed it into the bridge because the other complaint that the end user had was trying to arm and disarm a system using like an NVR. It's not the easiest thing to arm and disarm. The bridge just made it so simple for him to be able to arm and disarm it. Deployed it with our sensors, integrator commissioned it all off, got it all running for him. Integrator actually got a telephone call from him a couple of days later to say, I was thinking the system wasn't working because it wasn't getting any false activations. So he's gone from being bombarded to activations to zero activations. So he's actually left the system set himself. He's actually had to go and have a walk around the property, to make sure that it's still getting the activation. So end users absolutely delighted, integrators absolutely delighted. They've just got rock steady performance. Again, with the bridge, any notifications that come through, you get a notification straight through to the phone.
Now that's something we actually get asked about a lot, isn't it? It's about going back to a site that's been installed by an integrator and having a look at the external detection and giving them the right solution for that. It builds the confidence with the client and the integrator as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's one of the things that people need to remember. The detection starts the whole chain of events. If you haven't got the detection right at the start, you're just going to get a system that's bombarded with false alarms. End user are going to lose confidence in it. Integrator's going to get a bad name for it. So it's really key getting the detection right. And again, adding the bridge on it, it's a product that has been designed for this application, whether it be pushing it through to a mobile phone, pushing it through to an alarm receiving centre. It's just designed to do that job and do it really, really well.
Brilliant stuff.
That's one of the residential applications that one of my system integrators has had some success with. I believe you've had some good positive feedback from one of your integrators with regards to commercial applications.
Absolutely, yeah. And we're always interested to hear the good news stories at Optex and see how our equipment's being deployed and doing a good job for us out there. So in this particular situation, there was a commercial property and they kept getting targeted. Okay, and what they were doing is, as we all know in the industry, people will go to a site and test the response, what may or may not happen. 3 strikes and you're out, for example, internally, as we all know. So what we did in the first instance was deployed some external detection to that property, trigger some lights, just to get them away from the actual touching of the glass, for example, or a door. So did that a few times, and then they got wise to it. They kept coming back to the site, testing it, and it got such to a point that the actual client thought, well, there might be a problem here. There might be a problem with nuisance alarms. You know, what's happening on the site. So we went back there and we tested the site, and it worked perfectly. Of course, talk to us in the first instance, we'll survey it correctly for you. But the next step to that then was to add the bridge, which to then give eyes to the site, so you can actually see what is happening. Lo and behold, the guys come back next time. They actually came back a couple of times, and we look at the site remotely, and we can actually see the guys coming onto site. It's quite comical. They're coming onto the site, light comes on, then there was a talk down function, so it actually alerted the guys that it was that had been recorded on the site. And honestly, on the actual paving slab itself, you could see it every single time they turn around and walk away.
Yeah, okay.
But what it did, it solved that one problem, but this is where the bonus comes in for a retail or a chain business, for example. That particular client has bought throughout the range. So what it's going to do now is stop all of those problems with the break-ins. It will stop people attempting or re-attempting to come to your site and causing all the bother and all the expense that goes with it.
Yeah, okay. So the guy's got his site, he's getting hits on the intruder alarm system, looks to upgrade the security, puts on the external detection. The people that are trying to break in are still trying to test the system and test the response. They keep coming back, seeing if that sensor's just going to switch on a light or if there's anything else going to happen. Obviously, if you start as an end user thinking you're getting false activations by putting that visual verification on and that audio talk down feature, it adds the extra level to it where the guys actually know there's somebody responding to it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. It's just great to see. It really is. It's a great thing to see. Similarly for yourself then, what was the other application you were talking about?
Yeah, so another rural application. To be fair, there's thousands of applications like this dotted across the UK, but residential customer got equestrian interest, so they've got stables, they've got horses. Anybody that's in the equestrian game kind of knows that there's a bit of value there. You know, it doesn't have to be equestrian, it can be any kind of application where you've got assets that are stored outside, not a lot of protection. This customer didn't want a remote monitored solution, but wanted a reliable solution with push notifications to the mobile phone. So site survey done, external detection deployed, but it's going to be pet tolerant, it's going to be immune to the effect of any vegetation. These equestrian sites, often there's a lot of vegetation around. The last thing you want is grass blowing in the wind and causing false alarms. And deploying it with the bridge was the key thing. So they did actually have CCTV, but that was just local recording. All that was going to show them was something had happened on site, somebody had stolen something. End user wanted to take it to the next step further forward. So put the reliable detection on, put the bridge on, we've got the app notifications through to the phone. So as soon as somebody goes on that site, it'll then push through to the mobile phone and it'll let the property owner know there's somebody on site. The other key thing with the bridge though is being able to arm and disarm it with the app. Obviously, they had people, they had a couple of friends that kept the horses with them, so you get people going in and out at different times of the day. So it actually gave the end user with the facility the app to be able to get a push notification when somebody goes on the site, visually verify it, oh yeah, they're meant to be there, disarm the system. As soon as the notice that they've gone, they could then rearm the system. If they wanted to, they could have taken it another level and actually given other people the authority to arm and disarm the system. And the good thing about the bridge is everything's audit trailed, so if you give somebody authority, you know exactly who's armed it, who's disarmed it. So that solution, again, 0 false alarms because of the stability of the detection, and then the push notification through to the mobile phone if there's anybody goes on the site. And same thing as you've just said, Matt, you can do the audio talk down with it, you can fire relays, so it gives that deterrent effect with them not actually being living on site.
So this solution is not only for people's property and value around the material value. This, maybe more importantly, is all about people and your staff, your family, people around, to know that there's not a situation on site they may be walking into, perhaps.
Yeah, to be fair, there's that many applications that the bridge can be used on, from the rural applications, the residential applications, right the way through to the commercial applications, talking about safety for people. Look at another scenario, which is having panic buttons. So a big issue in the industry, panic button going off police response because of false activations. It could have been a cleaner. You then got to change the panic button. You haven't just got the double press panic button, you've got the confirm, so there's the 2 buttons on the front, the 2 buttons on the side. I'd hate for anybody to be in a true duress situation trying to press that. So rather than do that, keep the double press PA button, use the camera that's probably mounted above that till, put the bridge on there, bring the camera stream in for that PA button, push it directly through to the operator. As soon as that panic button is pressed, that operator of the control room is going to get the visual verification of why that panic button's been pressed. Helps customers maintain the police response. It can also help customers regain the police response if they have been unlucky enough to lose that police response. So yeah, there's just so many different applications that the bridge can be used for.
I'm even thinking security guards, key holding companies, even that.
Yeah, another feature of the bridge, one of the unique features is from the monitoring centre's point of view, you get an activation, you want to involve a third party like a key holding company or a man guarding company, you can actually push out a notification via SMS to a mobile phone. So it can give a man guard the ability to see what's actually caused the event. He can then actually see live video. And the good thing from the site's point of view is it's actually secure, so we'll give them a link that is enabled for a certain amount of time, so 1 to 6 hours. And after that time has elapsed, it'll disable that link, so you know that nobody's going to be able to pry on your site that shouldn't be allowed to see the site.
Oh, lovely. I love the function as well, where you can actually see that the camera's supervised as well.
Yeah,
those key areas.
Yeah, everything with the bridge, doesn't matter whether it's just push notifications through the mobile phone, whether it goes through to the alarm receiving centre. If a camera fails for any reason, we can flag it up, we can push it through to the alarm receiving centre or the end user, let them know they've got a problem before it becomes a problem where somebody tries to break in and then they don't see why that alarm activation's occurred.
Yeah. And I suppose lastly, the carbon footprint, that's good for that as well, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
you're not making unwanted journeys, are you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's the whole health and safety for the staff. You get an alarm activation, for example, a warehouse, somebody forces the fire exit door, causes an unconfirmed activation, you're just going to get a key holder response to that. The last thing I want to do is send down a key holder to that. You could have 4 guys in a van come to break into the place, you send a key holder down. It's a whole health and safety situation. You've got the bridge on there, you've got the camera feed that's on there. As soon as that fire exit door's been triggered, you can then bring in that camera feed so the operator knows what's actually happening on that site. Quite interestingly, taking it a step further, I've actually got customers, they've got other applications where what they're doing in those warehousing facilities is actually deploying the short-range detection externally and actually taking the detection outside the building. So you deploy the reliable detection that doesn't false alarm, you've got the camera system that's out there, you get an activation, push it through to the alarm receiving centre and the guys can see on there. Again, making that action of giving that audio talk down can be a big enough deterrent to deter somebody, make them move on to another site, switching on a light that's outside, or even take it the next step further. If somebody is trying to break into a fire exit door with a still saw, for example, if you want to dispatch a fogging machine within that environment, operator can just click that relay, make that happen in sight. Then when the guy actually gets into the fire exit door, he's just met by a building full of smoke. He can't see what he's intending to break into, so it's a great deterrent effect to stop break-ins.
Yeah, the whole idea is you stop them before they get in, isn't it? And you step onto your property, they are detected. That's what we do.
Definitely.
When we do talk to clients about the bridge, people think it's just a visual verification tool. what would you suggest it is?
It's so much more than just visual verification. There's visual verification products that you can get on the market that will do a job. The whole thing about the bridge is it's been designed for the job. There's a lot of thought gone into it, there's a lot of process gone into it. It's got so many different applications. People that I speak to, no 2 days are the same. Everyone's got a different application that the bridge will fit. There's so many features. We've discussed the app, we've discussed the relay outputs, we've discussed the audio talk down. There's so many features that we haven't discussed. We haven't discussed the privacy on the cameras for residential or high security applications. We haven't really got into the log that's in there. We haven't gone into how it'll integrate into alarm receiving centres. There's so much more that the bridge can offer. To really discuss it with us, talk about the applications, and then we can help you see how the product's going to help within those scenarios.
And I think the bonus to this piece of equipment is it brings value not only to the end user and their security system on site, brings real value to your credibility when you're talking to your clients about a unique product, and it is unique. In summary, Neil, what we've learned today is the bridge brings real value to your end users, your integrators and your alarm receiving centres. Should you have any applications, please give us a call and we'll be only too happy to go through it in more detail.
Thanks for watching, and any questions, any applications, feel free to get in touch.